I am finally getting a raised bed box built with some salvaged materials that I was able to pick up. I have some like cedar fencing boards and then a 2x4 that I am going to be turning into a raised bed box. So I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is to exercise safety. Make sure that you're wearing closed-toed shoes, and if you have like eye protective gear, you should wear that also. So do as I say, not as I do. And then I am just going to be cutting up a 2x4 into 2-foot sections for my corners. So I've got my chop saw here for that, and I've got a measuring tape and a pencil. So we are ready to go. So mark off your board for however long you want it for in the corner. I'm hoping this board is going to work. It's kind of split at the end. So I might have to go grab another one, see if that's going to be better for helping. My board is not level up here, so I'm going to grab a rock to stick under the backside so that it keeps it nice and flat so I can cut it easily. So you always want to check to see where your blade is going on your mark. And depending on how you measure it, you either are going right on the mark, just in front of, or just behind. And I'm just trying to go right down the center of my pencil mark. So just little bits of adjustments going. A little bit more. There we go, that's gonna do it. Okay, make sure it's nice and tight. Remember, use safety, closed-toed shoes, and protective eyewear when you are using heavy machinery and cutting wood. Now I'm going to measure my next section of this board. Again, I'm doing 2-foot intervals. Do not be intimidated by building things on your own. You can do it. Wearing protective gloves would also be helpful so that you don't get any little splinters on your fingers, because that hurts. My last cut. Okay, this board was a little bit longer, so this one is more than 2 feet. So I have 1 inch to cut off over here at this side. We're just going to go ahead and take care of that. I guess I had to make 4 cuts. Real safety, close it up and unplug it as soon as you are done. Okay, so I have all 4 of my corner posts that I'm going to be screwing my cedar planks into. So I'll show you what my cedar boards look like. They are just these cedar boards that are repurposed from someone's cedar fence that I picked up. I do need to go through and clean them out and take out some screws and staples that are in there. And I'm going to measure them out so that hopefully roughly the size of this raised bed will be 3 feet by roughly 6 feet, just under. So we'll get going on that next. Okay, so I only had 3 boards that were the full 6-foot length. So this was the next one that I had that was almost there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one off right here, and then I'll measure it against the other one so that so I will have 4 that are this length, and then I have 4 more that I'm going to split so that they will be about the 3-foot width for my boards. So here we go. I plugged in, and remember, safety, eyeglasses, closed-toed shoes, gloves. Always exercise safety when you're working with power tools. So what I am going to do with these next ones is they are kind of, I think it's called dog-eared at the top. So I'm going to cut off the dog-eared part and keep the nice flat end at the other side. So line this up here so it's nice and level. Grab my trusty pencil and mark off on there. So one back down, circle to dough. So my boxes, this is like my 12th box that I've built this way. It's going to be two lengths high, too high, all the way around to give me my depth for my box. of my long side boards, and then I am going to grab my other boards and measure them out at about 3 feet long. Make sure you keep them separated so you remember which lengths are the lengths that you want. And then just use the same board for all 4 of your side boards. Now this one's kind of chewed up at the bottom, so I'm going to cut that off first, and then I'll measure out my 3-foot length. I'm going to cut the bottom of this one off too because it's got this little knot hole in it, and I don't need that. Don't need to worry about that. And there's a screw coming out that I don't feel like taking out, so I just cut it off. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, I am getting ready to start with the short sides. This is the side that you want to start with. If you do the long sides first, you'll have to climb up on a ladder, and it's not safe. So short sides first, make sure that they are flush with the outside edges of your 2x4s and screw them in, getting the boards as close to each other as possible. Don't worry if there's a slight gap. The soil will not get through it. I needed to put in a couple extra screws on each one because the wood was starting to split a little bit, but that's okay. And now I'm getting ready to do the long sides. Again, you want these to go flush with the outside of the boards on the short side. Sorry, I went out of frame here for a little bit. Don't worry, that will get fixed as I am finishing up the last board on the box. There we go. Okay, so here it is all done. And I have these 2x4s taller so that when I come across more cedar boards over the years, I can add another one and another one on top to make it a taller, deeper box. But pretty simple, just I had to put a couple extra screws in some of them because the board started to split because they are a little bit old, but that is okay. It is not going to affect the integrity of this box. So the next thing that I might have to be doing to this is add some hardware cloth wire along the bottom because we get voles here and I want to try to protect my vegetables as much as possible. And so what I've been learning is putting hardware cloth across the bottom will help to keep the voles out from crawling under or digging under and eating vegetables. So there it is.